This is the most effective way I've ever seen of cutting through these big adobe walls. There's Tony's on the outside and Robert's on the inside. Hey, who makes this saw? Makita or Bosch?
And this is the window of the future, Steve, and it's available today.
Boy, it looks pretty, Glenn, but looks like any other window I've ever seen. And look, a fountain of some sort.
Not just a fountain. Water is so precious to us out here that this is probably used to help humidify the room.
Funding for this old house is provided by Parks Corporation, makers of safe and simple, environmentally responsible stains and finishes that enrich, protect, and preserve the natural beauty of wood. And by
State Farm Insurance, keeping our promise of protection with auto, home, life and health insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, I'm Steve Thomas. Welcome to this old house, and welcome to Santa Fe, where there's plenty of new and modern. But make no mistake about it, the reason people come here is for the old. Like this old train station, end point of the famous Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railway. It's all part of what the locals around here call the Santa Fe style. Come on, let me show you some more of it with our homeowner, Joanne Asher.
Steve, this is something very special I wanted to show you. This is Canyon Road. It's one of the most historic streets in Santa Fe. It's where so many of the art galleries are and where a great many of the artists live.
Yeah?
This is my favorite corner.
Oh, look at this. I love this step wall here.
Yeah. This gate is probably one of the most photographed, most painted gates.
I can see why. This is absolutely lovely. Look at this old window here. This is one of the lace curtains, shutters, the weathered vigas. What a fabulous facade.
Let me show you some things inside.
Oh, I'd love to see. Careful on the ice.
Absolutely. This is the home of Elizabeth Thornton. She's a dear friend and she's a former art student of mine.
Look at this. This is beautiful.
And great.
You know, look at these rounded corners here. Rounds into the windows here. You can still see the marks of the trowels, the old vigas. I mean, this is a historic house, isn't it?
Probably. Nobody's really sure about the age of this house.
You know what I love about it is the colors. That blue standing against the adobe color is just stunning.
Well, the blue is a very traditional color here. The tradition is that no evil spirit will cross that color.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, what about this?
This is the old portal.
Yeah.
You can see it's been enclosed to serve as a sun porch.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Hello, Taco.
Ooh, this is beautiful.
You can still see the skeleton of the old portal with the adze beams and the corbels left in.
Oh yeah, look at that. You can see looks like they broad-axed that beam there. Now this is a lovely light-filled space. What does Liz use it for?
This is a summer living room for entertaining, a sun porch.
It's wonderful.
Pretty.
Lead on.
Okay. This is the dining room.
Ooh, I wouldn't mind an invitation to dinner here.
And it's a beautiful room.
Sure is. Look at this.
What I love about this room, the size, the scale, the plaster is a wonderful, light, hard trowel finish.
Yeah. And it goes up to the inevitable Santa Fe ceiling.
Which unfortunately has a little bit too much Santa Fe charm. This is an earth roof. And,
oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, look, you can see some pebbles coming through the cracks there.
You can often see that happen at dinner as well.
They drop in your soup?
Yeah. Look at this, how soft the forms flow into each other.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Great.
Look at this, and this nicho is terrific.
The beautiful Santo inside.
That's wonderful.
I like the deep arches as well.
You know, these really give you a feeling of security. I don't know what it is about the massiveness of the arches.
And this is something else I love about this house, the recessed cabinetry buried into the walls.
Yeah, yeah. Now look at that. Would that, that's the Christ. Would that have been original to the house?
Who knows? These places are so wonderful and they just evolve over the years.
Well, this place must have a kitchen.
It has an incredible kitchen. Unbelievable.
Yeah?
Steve, look at this. No kitchen cabinets, just recycled crates from Mexico.
Hey, you could have saved yourself some money by hanging these on the wall. And look at this banco.
Isn't that great? You can still see the marks of the axe here.
Sure can, and it looks like it's been hewn out of a single log, too.
We have willow lachias in the ceiling.
Yeah, what's that? There's like a blue patina on them, as if they've been rubbed with a pigment or something.
We have the small windows up high, kept very intimate.
Right, just like in the original Pueblos.
The light in here comes from modern but Beautiful skylight.
Oh, and there's a lot of it too. This place is flooded in light. Look at these split cedars over here. Another banco also hand-hewn, and this fireplace.
Isn't that great?
Of course, it wouldn't pass code in any jurisdiction in the United States with this wood surrounding it, but
It's so lovely, who cares?
it's wonderful, yeah.
There's an artist studio in here that's now the master bedroom.
Through here? Oh, look at this. What a wonderful studio.
Isn't it great?
And look, a fountain of some sort.
Well, water is so precious to us out here. This is not just beautiful, it's actually helping to humidify the room.
You know, I really love the way the sound of it echoes off these adobe walls. And look at these stairs, flagstone covered, going up to a balcony up here.
Possibly used as a gallery at one point.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
look at this
could be.
beautiful skylight that the artist used before.
Oh, it just fills the place with light.
See why I love this room and this house?
I do. I love it myself.
So tell me, how many Santa Fe homes have you seen so far?
I guess about 6.
Well, that leaves 3,648 to go.
Well, we got our work cut out for us. Let's go. Hey, Tony. Lorenzo. Well, we're just hours away from the arrival of the concrete trucks. They're going to come and pour concrete over our radiant floor heating system. But first, we need a radiant floor heating system. Richard.
Oh, yeah.
We've been expecting you.
It's good to be back.
Where's our heat?
Relax. We're in good shape, actually. The studio is in process right now, and we've got a little different installation technique that's going to make it easier for us. We're using
yeah?
a plastic grid that we'll put down over the whole slab,
Yeah.
and then we'll just snap the tubing into this so it'll hold it in place for our pour.
Well, I can't wait to see that.
I'm going to show it to you in a minute, but first I want you to meet our heating, plumbing, and electrical contractor, John Onstad.
Hey, John.
Hi, Steve. Jones.
Nice to meet you. Well, I don't envy your job in these old adobe buildings. Looks like you have to do a lot of chopping.
Oh, absolutely. Steve, these buildings went up long before the advent of modern plumbing, heating, and electrical systems, and as you can see, we just have to take a hammer and chisel and chisel and channel out an area for the plumbing and the electrical.
So you're going to plaster all those things in.
Correct.
And when it's all done, if you have a leak down the road, what do you do? How do you know where the leak is?
Well, normally, of course, you just see the water, but we've used compressed air before, we've used stethoscopes, but for the most part, it's not really a problem.
But if you have a leak, how would you find it? How would you go after it?
With a jackhammer.
Jackhammer?
Absolutely.
You know, what amazes me, John, is that because it's all in the adobe or in the slab, you have to know exactly where the fixtures are going to go early on in the process. What happens if the homeowner makes a change halfway through and wants something moved?
Well, if the slab's been poured or the walls are up, you just have to take the jackhammer out again.
That's like your favorite tool, isn't it? That's right. What I did notice that's a little different from the way we do it with water distribution is we normally would run a hot and cold water line down the middle of the building and then branch to each bathroom group. You do it a little differently.
Right.
You would come with one line from the mechanical room to here. This supplies this fixture, but then you'd come out and go to the next fixture and to the next, similar to Christmas tree lights.
That's right.
Now that's a little bit different.
So what do you use, that copper flex tubing?
Well, yeah, soft copper in coils comes in 60 and 100-foot coils, and that eliminates the need for any joints below the slab.
No fittings below, which is...
So that's a bit different than the way we do it. Well, now I noticed another difference in here, Richard. Looks like you've got the radiant floor heating system on the wall.
Now, I only look a little confused. I knew what I was doing. This is the north side of the building, okay? And we have a large whirlpool tub going to be right here. There's not a lot of floor space for underfloor heating. So this is a new technique to us that uses a grid system again with a smaller tubing that then can be covered over with cement and then tile over that, giving you a radiator right next to you.
Well, have you ever done this before?
We have not personally, but this is a very popular trend in Europe. What do you think of it?
I think it's great. When a person's bathing, they're basically much more sensitive to drafts and temperature, so it fits the bill.
Great. Well, I want to thank you guys. You're doing a great job. I want to take you over and show you that tubing going in the floor.
Okay.
Thanks, John.
See you guys.
Thanks, John. Boy, you really weren't kidding, Richard. This does go down fast.
Yeah, it's this blanket of grid. There along the edges we'll cut with scissors.
Or a utility
throughout the
knife.
room. Here in the middle, we don't have to cut anything. The panels will overlap and just snap together.
Oh, just like Lego blocks.
Right. So now, once we've done that in the whole room, we're going to create 2 zones in this room. One here and one here. And then it's really just a question of stepping it in like a maze.
Yeah, that's great. Very quick. Now, you were very fussy about the type of tubing you wanted to use for this job.
That's
Why?
right. Well, Steve, in this country, radiant floor heating started in about 1940 and ended in 1965.
Why?
Well, at the time, they were using copper pipe in concrete.
Yeah, when the concrete attacked the copper.
From the outside. Now, in this country right now, I'm seeing jobs that have all kinds of different tubing below the floor. You know, there's an automobile radiator kind of product, some very poor plastics, and I'm nervous.
Yeah.
I don't want to see a repeat of history.
Yeah.
So I look to Europe, where they've got millions and millions of feet of underfloor tubing for over 20 years.
So what does this stuff do that those other products don't?
What they've discovered is that there's two potential Achilles heels with plastic tubing. One is the effects of temperature over time, making the pipe brittle.
That's sort of like plastic parts in your car.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. And then the other is that they've discovered that oxygen can literally migrate through the side of the pipe and get into the heating system and cause premature failure of the circulator.
Because of rust. Where there's oxygen, there's
That's
rust.
right. So this is cross-linked polyethylene that has a barrier, an oxygen barrier on it, which will prevent that. Short term is called PEX, P-E-X.
Great, so PEX will eliminate all these problems.
That's right.
Well, good. I'll leave you to the floor and the heat while I check on the roof and the insulation.
Okay, great. See you.
Well, it's another one of these stunning Santa Fe days. It's about midday and 55 degrees. Yet up in the mountains, there's still snow. And up on the roof, looks like about 555, guys. What's the story, John?
It's a big day for us. We're getting ready to put down the polyurethane foaming system. We need to cap off all of our electrical, all of the plumbing. We need to drop our skylights in place as well. We've got a lot of things to get ready for the foamer.
Well, tell me about this foam.
Well, the foam is going to take care of all the insulation and the waterproofing and the drainage that I was talking about earlier. So if you want to go talk to Larry Wilson, he will tell us how the system works. Larry, how you doing?
Morning, John.
Got a friend, Steve Thomas, with me. Larry Wilson, Steve Thomas.
Steve Thomas.
Larry.
So nice to meet you, sir.
Tell us about the system.
Sure. Steve, what we have is a two-component polyurethane foam roof system. We get our material from North Carolina. We put it in these two temperature-controlled tanks.
A and B there.
A and B, From there, they are put through a proportioner that raises the pressure up to about 1,000 psi.
Wow, 1,000 psi. That's a lot of pressure.
From there, we take it through what we call preheaters. The preheaters raise the chemicals up to around 150 degrees.
Boy.
From there, we send it on through this double insulated temperature-controlled hose to the gun nozzle. The chemicals never reach until they get to this special nozzle.
Oh, I see. So they're kept separate all the way to the end.
Right. And we keep the temperature coming out of this nozzle about 110, 120 degrees. And that's the first time that the chemicals are introduced to each other.
So you say this thing's heated as well? This hose
That's
is heated?
correct. Feel it.
This thing has some heat to it,
it's hot.
Steve. Why was the polyurethane developed? Was it always just for roofing?
No, that's ironic in that about 30 years ago, the system was designed because they were trying to move perishables from coast to coast through the railroad cars. So they came up with the idea of developing polyurethane foam insulation to spray on the walls, put a little dry ice in the freight cars, and they can move it from coast to coast.
When did they start using it for roofs?
About 25 years ago, somebody said it would make a good roof.
Hey, well, let's see this thing work.
All right, we'll do it.
Okay.
Great.
Well, how many of these roofs do you do every week, Larry?
Only average 2 or 3 a week, Steve.
So you move right along.
Yes, we do.
Well, you spray on the studio roof here. Gee, it's almost like spraying a car, you know?
It's monolithic. It's polyurethane foam sprayed in place. So when we're through, there won't be a seam in this place. It'll be one piece of foam.
Well, how do you get started?
Well, like for example here, Steve, this morning, we do what we call our detail work first.
That's this here?
That's correct.
I see.
We spray all of our details, our boxes, protrusions, and all first. And then, as you can see here, Aaron starts laying it down on the flat surface in multiple layers in order to get the thickness that the job calls for.
Well, how long does it take to learn how to foam a roof like this?
It takes about 5 years before that you can be a qualified foam applicator.
And how thick does he spray it?
He sprays it about 1 inch a pass.
Yeah.
And this roof calls for a minimum of 4 inches of foam. That means he'll have 4 inches at his canale area, but about 6 inches back up here in order to be sure we get a positive drain.
So you want to slope the roof all the way down so that the water runs out here.
That's correct. And you'll notice that he's building in a big valley here so that as the water runs down, it will channel to each canale.
I see. Now, what's going to protect this roof against the harsh rays of the sun and people walking on it?
We've got that figured out, Steve. Why don't you come over here and I'll show you. Yeah, the secret, Steve, is gravel.
Just gravel?
Just gravel.
Now, you've already foamed this roof here, right?
That's correct. We foamed this yesterday, and we're protecting it from the ultraviolet rays with about an inch of gravel.
I see.
The gravel not only protects it, it lets the foam breathe, thus it will stay dry and be a good insulator.
Now, what do you do on vertical surfaces where you can't apply gravel?
Okay, Steve, where we can't hold the gravel, we put an acrylic elastomeric coating that's good for shedding the RV.
That's this gray stuff here.
That's correct, and it will be brown when we're through.
I see.
Larry, would you mind telling Steve what type of R value we're going to get on this roof?
Yes, John, we get about an inch, 7.1 per inch, which this roof will have about an R40.
What do you think of that, Steve?
R40 is pretty great. Hey, well, Larry, thanks for the roof. We look forward to it keeping us dry and warm for many years in the future.
It will do that. It's my pleasure.
Great. Now, John, you've got some big holes here.
Oh, we do, but we have something to cover them up with, too.
Yeah.
We have the skylights are in.
Boy, look at that. Boy, nice flashing detail. This is gorgeous.
Steve, you want to help me lift it over there?
Now, is this double insulated?
No, this is a triple dome, so we even get better R value off of this skylight than we would normally.
Boy,
the ultraviolet protection and so forth is going to make this an excellent skylight for a lot of years.
Now, how does the Historic Commission feel about skylights in this area?
Well, that's why I've got the parapets built up here a little bit. They really don't want to see the skylight from the street.
I see. Well, what about windows and doors?
Oh, they care an awful lot about that. Let me show you down below.
All right.
This is it, Steve. 8-foot high, custom-made, true divided light doors.
Boy, those are lovely.
All the million and mutton work that's gone into these doors.
And each one of these is an insulated panel, all individual.
That's correct. The historical styles people in the area here insist that we use the old true divided look at all openings, not only for doors, but for our windows as well.
Now, they won't accept a grill that's inserted on top of a large insulated panel of glass?
Oh, they prefer if we do use the true divided light.
I see. Now, what kind of an installation is this? I mean, I see you got some wire here and some big old barn nails and some insulation stuck behind there.
Well, we don't have all the framing behind us like you would back east. What we have to deal with here is the adobe walls. So instead of just driving a spike right through the side of this window casing into the mud, we tack the expanded metal lath to the unit and then slide the unit in and affix the metal lath to the adobe. That's the way we hold the windows in.
Right. Now, this is a high-performance window, right?
That's right.
But don't you have, 300 days of intense sunshine here all year? And wouldn't that give you some problems with UV damage to furnishings and paintings and so on inside your house?
Sure.
Suppose I could show you a window that blocked out 95% of UV radiation. Would you buy it?
I'd love it.
Well, come with me to Albuquerque and I'll show you the wave of the future in windows.
Okay.
And this is the window of the future, Steve, and it's available today.
Boy, it looks pretty, Glenn, but looks like any other window I've ever seen.
Well, it looks like any other window, but let me show you why it's not.
Okay.
Here's a cutaway of the glass in the window system.
Yeah.
But what we do is take standard 1-inch insulated glass, and we suspend 2 layers of film.
Oh, yeah? This stuff?
You see the 3 air spaces there? Then also what they do is they put an inert gas between here, and that reduces the transmission.
Of cold.
Of cold and heat.
Okay.
But also the key to this system is this insulated spacer.
This foam stuff here?
It's a closed cell tape.
Yeah.
That stops that transmission just almost completely.
I see. So this really works?
This gives you an R8 insulation value. But look at this demonstration here, and this will dramatically show you. Put your hand on here and feel this.
Oh, look at that. That's all frosty. What's it sitting on?
That's
ice
dry
or
ice. It's about 50 degrees below zero.
Yeah.
But see how that comes across and makes you cold in here?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, with the superglass system, see where this right in the center here, that insulated spacer? It stops that cold just right,
that's a lot
right in the
warmer.
center there. It doesn't come into the room.
Well, that's pretty impressive, but you know, up in Santa Fe, they're a lot more concerned with intense sunlight than they are with intense cold.
Well, there's also an answer to that, too. Let me show you here. Could you turn out the light?
Sure.
Okay, this is a demonstration that shows ultraviolet light going through. Regular insulated glass cuts out about 50% of the ultraviolet penetration.
That's on the left side.
That's on the left side here. And then we put this piece of this high-performance glass in. That takes out about 60 or 70%.
Right.
That's better.
Yeah.
But look what the superglass window with the film does. That takes out about 99.5% of the ultraviolet.
Boy, that's incredible.
That's going to literally triple the life of your fabrics.
Now, when is this product going to be available?
You can get this today.
You can?
This is available. Some of the experts didn't think it'd be available till the middle or late 90s.
Really?
You can get that today.
Well, wait till I tell Wolf, and thanks for showing it to us.
Thank you.
So what did you think, John? Did I make a believer out of you?
I believe. I never thought I'd live to see the day when there'd be an R8 window.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
That is.
But I'll tell you, I think it's the wave of the future.
Oh, I think it's incredible.
Hey, how did old Norm take to getting kicked out of his studio workshop here?
Oh, he took it real bad. He left town.
I was afraid of that. But he didn't leave town before he had a chance to reveal the secrets of his cabinet-making system. Let's watch.
Boy, Steve, it sure is a lot of progress.
It sure is, Norm. This is the most effective way I've ever seen of cutting through these big adobe walls. There's Tony's on the outside and Robert's on the inside. Hey, who makes this saw? Makita or Bosch?
Bosch.
Well, what is it anyway?
This is barbed wire with 2 handles tied to each end.
And then you got some more just wrapped
Extra
up
wire,
around here?
yes. That's for more effective cutting.
Yeah? Where'd you get the barbed wire?
We got it out back.
Well, what's going to get out?
The Mino La Coyote.
It's full start, too.
It's a full start saw, yeah.
Hey, well, we won't hold you up.
Okay.
Pretty ingenious. Isn't it amazing that with all the carbide tip tools and diamond blades that they're cutting adobe block with barbed wire?
I know, it's incredible, but it works.
Yeah, I guess it does.
Well, Norm, give us a geography lesson in the dream kitchen here.
Okay, well, let's start over here. You have to remember that this door is being shifted over to the left, to the right a couple feet.
It's going to be arched, too.
That's right, it's going to have a nice arch. But starting next to that opening will be the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Then all the way around the kitchen, there are base cabinets and upper cabinets. Here there'll be counter space on the base cabinet, and up here a built-in microwave. Then when you get on this wall, centered on this big long wall, there'll be a 6.5-foot restaurant-type stove.
Great.
With a plastered vent hood.
Plastered in, huh? So it looks like the adobe.
That's right, it'll blend right in. Then counter space around the corner, upper cabinets, a sink base here with the kitchen sink centered right on the window. Over here, a dishwasher, upper cabinets, and finally one more base cabinet with drawers and storage.
Nice. How are you going to build the cabinets?
Well, basically there's a system. One for the base cabinets and another system for the wall cabinets. And once you know how to use both of those systems, you can build any kitchen.
The system, huh? Where'd you pick this up?
Well, I suppose I was probably doing a job 20 years ago, and I learned how to build cabinets off an architectural plan.
Hey, well, you mind showing me the system?
No, let's go in the shop. Although I might hold back on a couple of the secrets.
Well, I'm starting to get this system now, Norm. The first thing you do is you cut the side pieces for your cabinets.
Right, out of full sheets of plywood, I cut the sides to the right width and height, and then along the lower front corner, I make this notch as a toe space.
And then the next thing you do is you pull off your regular blade, and you install a dado cutter, which is a stacked set of blades, 2 cutters on the side, and then a set of chisels in the middle.
Right. Depending how many chisels you use will determine the width of the dado, anywhere from 1/4 inch to 13/16. We cut 5/8 this time because we're going to install these adjustable shelf standards, and they just get nailed in, and they're nice because they allow you the flexibility of moving the shelf wherever you have one.
And this dado down here?
The dado at the bottom is for the bottom fixed shelf.
Now I notice you use all 3/4 inch stock.
Right, it's all 3/4 inch plywood. I made a couple more notches in the sides, up at the top here. One at the top back corner for this piece of 1x4. That's so I can fasten it to the wall later.
And this one over here too.
And this one over here.
Oh, I see. That's to screw your countertop down or even glue it if you have stone.
That's right. And it also helps me with the face frame because I can nail my rails to it.
What's next?
Next, we're ready to start doing some assembly. So if you put a little glue in that lower dado, I will get the bottom piece.
How much you want?
Just a tiny bit. Just enough to get a bond in there. Okay. I'll just tip this up. And you want to make sure you keep the face flush. I'm just going to use some 1 5/8 bugle head screws. Glue it together. How about putting a little glue on the bottom of that center partition? Okay. Right way, yep.
drive some more screws in this. And why don't you put a little bit of glue on the bottom dado of the other side.
This goes together easily, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's strong.
So now you've glued and screwed the back cleat.
Right. And now we'll put the top front cleat on. Just hold it flush with the end and flush with the front.
Ready for the back, Norm?
Yep. Glue's all on.
Now I notice you're not wasting 3/4 inch plywood on this.
No, just 1/4 inch. Good side facing in. And it's only here to help hold the cabinet square, keep it from racking, and so it'll look good from the inside.
Now you got to have a pneumatic nailer to do this, right?
Well, no hammer or nails. There's no sense in doing that. Tell you, once you get one of these, you never want to have another hammer. They work great. All right, that should do it.
All right, let's see how these things look. Well, they're starting to look like cabinets, that's for sure. Except I noticed we didn't put any dados in on this side.
No, we don't need any there because this is going to be a bank of drawers.
What's next?
Well, next is the face frame, which will finish off the front edges of the plywood, pieces of wood that go all the way around. The doors will hang off of it,
right,
and the drawers will slide through it.
When are you gonna get to that?
I don't know. You know, tomorrow, maybe the day after tomorrow. Kind of depends how many breaks I take to go over to the store, maybe get a couple tamales, some tacos, enchiladas.
You're really getting into this Santa Fe style, Norm.
You bet.
Well, Steve, this is our moment of truth. In one day, we got all the tubing installed for the underfloor heat, and then we pressure tested it with air to 100 psi. And now we're ready to pour our lightweight gypsum floor. What they're going to do is take that sand and put it into a hopper, add the bags of gypsum and some water, and blend it. It'll be pumped out through that small hose over there.
Richard, this looks like very runny stuff.
Well, it's very loose, which is a good feature of the product because it will float its way across and just about be self-leveling.
You don't really have to trowel it except with that Derby.
Just a rough screed.
Now they'll come in with another coat?
Right, this is the first coat, and then he will have a second finish coat that'll be just right for your flagstone.
Flagstone. And that's the subject next time. Until then, I'm Steve Thomas for This Old House.
Funding for This Old House is provided by Parks Corporation, makers of safe and simple, environmentally responsible stains and finishes that enrich, protect, and preserve the natural beauty of wood. And by
State Farm Insurance, keeping our promise of protection with auto, home, life, and health insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.